It's not about what you do, it's about who you become. I've had to remind myself of this knowing on countless occasions. And I think the most recent one, if I fall off with, say, my habits and routines, if I start to be a little bit impulsive, start to overconsume, start to not meet my own expectations that are placed upon myself. So I think that's what a lot of it comes down to. We place high expectations upon ourselves, and then when we start to meet those expectations, we then begin to, or we then set the new, we draw the new line, we set the new bar, because we've been able to upkeep that bar. Even if, say, you're right, I'm going to get up every morning at 6 a.m., do this morning routine, go to work, go to the gym after work. You might do that for a week. And then that, because you've been able to stick to it, that then becomes the new norm. That becomes the new line, the new standard that you have set for yourself. So then what happens when you don't meet that standard? What happens when you don't go to the gym? What happens when you sleep in late? What happens when you fall off your habits? Then what happens? Then what is after that? And a lot of the issues come from attaching our identity to our productivity, to this standard that we keep placing upon ourselves, forgetting the simple fact that we are a human being. We are not a robot. You're never going to hit the base every single time. You're never going to show up every single day and do everything that is expected of yourself. Now, the sad reality is of the way society is mapped out, or the expectations that have been placed upon us from an external standpoint, especially with things like social media and high influences positing a specific image, we believe that, or we just set unrealistic standards on ourselves and on our lives, and when we don't meet them standards, then we start to react negatively to to us not meeting these standards and requirements that we place upon ourselves. And it's a dangerous game to play, because if you're constantly setting the bar high for yourself, and then when you don't meet it, you're met with, you don't hit the standards, you don't show up, you fall off the wagon, as you would say, then that is followed by guilt and shame every single time. This is where the destruction happens. Not when you overeat on your diet, not when you had a drink on the weekend, not when you slept in late, not when you missed a gym session. That isn't where the destruction happened. It happened how you reacted to the situation, by you reacting negatively, by you reacting with the guilt and shame. And where the guilt and shame comes from, it's the over-identification to meeting these standards. It's attaching your identity to this standard that you've placed upon yourself. Now, what's the solution to this? I mean, just simply recognizing that you are flawed in creation. Every single human being on this planet is flawed. We are all flawed in creation. None of us, or you could say perfect, imperfection in God's image. That is the perfection. The chaos, the messiness of this human experience is the artistry and the perfection. But we are flawed. No human on this planet is perfect, and we all have shortcomings. We all have things that we struggle with. We all have vices. We all have things that we are trying to overcome. So recognizing that and understanding that you're never going to get it perfect. You're going to be trying all your life, and you're going to die before it looks perfect. So kind of learning to surrender that and accept that there has to be chaos included, because there cannot be order without the chaos. Through the lower polarity, if there's order, there has to be chaos. So learning to make love to that, and I think implementing elements of chaos into your life, like have your life structured in a way where it is ordered. You have a container, you have specific habits that you know can upkeep you, and you know that can keep you stable and keep you grounded and keep your feet on the ground. And if you have these habits that you've built up in your life that you know what works, could be a morning routine, could be a simple exercise, movement routine, anything, whatever that looks like for you. Obviously eating clean, like, I think basics, things like that should be non-negotiables. Like I say, upkeeping healthy eating habits, even spending time out in nature, exercise, keeping good social connections, just the basic stuff. I think we should all upkeep these things anyway, but having that as a container and keep returning to these things as your base level, but then allowing a little space for just nothingness and a little space for chaos and emptiness and spaces where you can actually rest guilt free. Because if you don't honor yourself that time, what is going to happen is throughout prolonged periods of structure and routine, it's going to find you. And this is when the guilt and shame typically seems to creep in, and it actually then leads to a snowball effect of or a cycle of destruction rather than just one dose of chaos, because you've not honored yourself that. So like the inner rebel within us, like the child within us, that you're starving of this, because the child within us is more of the chaos energy. It wants to be free, wants to express itself, doesn't want the confinements of structure and routine. So I mean, after you're doing that for a prolonged period of time, if you don't have an end goal, like you don't have an end time in mind, and this is through my own experience as well. Every time I've ended up going through cycles of destruction, it's when I've been in good routine, been in good habits. It's like one extreme to the other. I can be absolutely smashing it, ticking all the boxes, kicking down doors. We're doing it. We're doing it, and then all of a sudden one thing will happen, and then that'll just like one domino will fall, and then they all start to fall, and then I'm back to like I've acted out every negative habit that I've been trying my best to stay away from, all in one burst or one episode. It's like a self-sabotaging way, but I don't look at it like that anymore. I look at it as a way like, right, okay, well, where have I not actually honored myself, that downtime, that rest, that chaos, that free time? Why have I not implemented that? Because the child in me wouldn't be screaming and acting out in this way if I already honored that time and space within myself. So I'll give you an example. So if I'm saying, right, I've got this is my routine. I'm doing a morning routine, going to the gym at night. I'm doing a bit of content here. I'm doing a bit of writing here, and we started doing it. Yeah, we're taking habits. We're making some good progress. We're sticking to the routines. We're sticking to the habits. If I don't have an end goal in mind, if I don't say to myself, right, we do this, and then Friday, right, we're having the afternoon off, and Saturday we're having the day off, and you can go and do whatever you want, and I pencil in some time to have some fun or go and enjoy myself without any restraints, without any routine, without obviously keeping somewhat of a structure, but just a little bit more of a gentler approach. No expectations within the day. Like I said, the expectations Monday to Friday in your routines, and then there's no expectations on Friday, Saturday. Let's just do what you want. If I don't have that already penciled in, for me personally, the chaos is just going to find me. There's no way to avoid it, unfortunately. I've tried over and over and over again to be perfect and to find the perfect routine, and I've tried hundreds of different routines, morning routines, the evening routines, training routines. I've written them out, I've been militant, I've stuck to them, and then every single time the same pattern repeats itself. And it's because I'm not allowing myself that space where there is just free flowing time to just kind of do what I want to do and kind of let the world move me around to a certain degree. And it might seem a little bit passive to the hyper masculine society, but if you're in the hyper masculine self-development guru space, then you're on the wrong channel, because that's not what we're talking about over here. We're talking about getting back to your true self and finding some equilibrium and balance within yourself and within your own life. Because if you can stabilize your inner world, if you can find some balance and serenity and some peace within yourself, that's only going to manifest in your external through the lower correspondence, as above, so below. You fix your internal state and you find that peace, you find that stability. You'll allow yourself to do the things that you've been suppressing and holding back from. If you give yourself free time and space to do these things without judgment, without expectation, that was going to create some form of harmony and balance in your life. Being hyper or extreme on anything is only going to tip you over the edge the opposite way. Any extremes, they do not work, or they work for a prolonged period of time until chaos strikes, until the pendulum swings the opposite way, in order to restore equilibrium and balance. So this is one of nature's laws. Nature wants to restore balance and equilibrium. So if you're going too hardcore one way, the pendulum's going to swing the opposite way. It doesn't go straight back to the middle. It goes extreme. If you've gone extreme order, then it's going to go extreme chaos. And in order for you to meet back in the middle, in that equilibrium, you can understand how it goes. So extreme order, you go back to extreme chaos, and then it's just going to kind of meet somewhere in the middle. And then this is where you navigate again from. You've got another option now. Do you go back to extreme order and try and work your way back up to this like hardcore attacking all the habits, hitting everything, ticking all the tasks, making progress, goals, achievements, accolades, yeah, winning, champion? Do you go back to this mindset? Or do you try and find some form of harmony and dance around the midline a little bit and allow it splashes of chaos? Allow yourself to have a little chippy tea on a Friday night. Allow yourself to take the day off in the gym one time. Allow yourself to just have a day just doing whatever the fuck you want to do without expectations, without having to achieve anything or be anything or do anything. Allow yourself these things, because it's, again, you're only human, and without that you're going to continuously repeat these cycles of destruction. And if you allow these things in that you've been suppressing and holding back from, it eradicates the guilt and shame. And the guilt and shame is the thing what pushes the snowball down the hill. That's the thing what topples over and starts to bleed into the rest of your life and cause the chaos and destruction on another level, because it's them negative emotions that you want to run away from. The guilt and the shame are probably the worst emotions you can feel, and especially the child within you doesn't want to feel guilt or shame. So you're going to do what you can to try and alleviate them emotions by reaching for these vices and these habits and whatever that looks like. And this is speaking all through experience. These are the cycles I've repeated endless times, and I'm going through this. I mean, I'm not speaking through a position of authority. I'm speaking through lived experience, and trying to, by me voicing this, is going to help me navigate it, and also help you find some form of direction within navigating these cycles, because I think it's something we all experience. And I do genuinely think that's what it boils down to, not finding that balance and equilibrium and stability within yourself. Having, obviously, good practices to regulate and stabilize your emotions and your energy as well, because that's not to say that you're not going, even if you do have this balance and harmony, you're not going to get bouts of feeling uncomfortable emotions. That's another part of the human experience that we cannot avoid. So having positive coping mechanisms or healthy coping mechanisms in play and outlets in play that can help you navigate these stormy seas when they do come. For me, a lot of that's getting out in nature, breath work, meditation. Meditation, not so much when it's a difficult emotion. I don't know, when people say just sit with it, for me that doesn't really work. Movement is better for me. I like to move the body, so doing even yoga, stretching, running, bag work, martial arts is the best thing for me in terms of like moving emotions. But yeah, just do something productive, find something to channel it, or just write, just simply trying to journal, or even communication about how you're feeling these difficult emotions, instead of just reaching for the quickest, easiest, convenient thing, because convenience is more than likely going to be destructive in the long term. So having these in place, and this isn't something that's ever going to look perfect. Like, regulating emotions is a difficult thing, and it's a lifelong practice. We're always forever learning what works for us and what doesn't work for us, and I can't give you a magic pillar antidote like the hyper self-development gurus will say, like, you do this thing and you do X and it fixes Y. But unfortunately, 8 billion people, 8 billion different worlds. What works for me isn't going to work for you. So trial and error with as many different things. I think experimentation is the key to freedom, because you find what actually aligns with you. And then when you find what works for you, just rinse and repeat that. Just keep going back to that. Find open channels that you can openly express yourself and you can pour yourself into. For me, martial arts, drawing, I love writing. This is expression for me. Anything like that's arty and creative is going to help you really channel these emotions in a positive way, and then from there, it's going to help you navigate life, and it's going to give you more of a broader expression throughout the world as well when you do present yourself to the world, whatever that looks like in any social and what I'm getting at is what you do behind closed doors is dictating how you're going to present in public. What you do in private is going to dictate to how you're going to show out and how you're going to stand up in public. Or it doesn't necessarily mean habits. The relationship you keep with yourself is more what I'm pointing at. Like how you speak to yourself on the day-to-day, how you react to specific things, how you attach and identify with specific behaviours and habits and roles and characters. Like, all these things is going to build up your identity and persona, and that's what you're going to present to the world. So it's very, very important to cultivate a good, healthy, positive relationship to yourself when you're alone in private, by finding what you love, finding what you love to do, and just doing that as much as you possibly can, and spending more time alone and actually really learning to love that time alone. I think we've gone off, digressed a little bit, but yeah, I think it's all very much relevant within navigating these cycles, because the more you can enjoy your alone time, the less likely you are going to repeat in these cycles of destruction, because a lot of what it is avoidant tactics. You're trying to avoid uncomfortable emotions, you're trying to avoid the uncomfortability, you're trying to avoid the silence, the boredom yourself. So yeah, filling them gaps in with, I think art's the key to freedom, man. Art in any form, whether that's movement through it, expression through movement, drawing, painting, writing, like any form of creation, I think is, yeah, I think that's what we're here to do. We're here to create. So find what fits you, find what avenue lights you up, and that's only going to be found through exploration. So get yourself out there and start exploring, start thinking outside the box, put that fucking phone down, and yeah, start trying new things. So yeah, I'm going to leave it on that note. So next time you get through these cycles, or you notice yourself falling off, which we would say, which is also a term I'd like to alleviate. You're not falling off, it's all part of the process. Like that is the falling off is actually part of the journey, and it's a pinnacle part, because you're learning lessons, and it gives you, forces you into self-reflection and introspection. When you're always on a forward motion and you're hitting the goals and achievements, it's very outward intention, whereas when you fall off, you go very inward. Then you start to turn in and look inward for the answers and for the solutions. And I think that is just as important, if not more important, than the achievements and accolades we achieve in the world, or the things that we do out in the world. So yeah, just remember that it's all relevant. It's all relevant. You've not fell off, you're not falling behind. It's all part of the process. It is all part of the journey. And yeah, you just got to kind of learn to love the totality and love it all in its polarity, in its messiness, and in its chaos. So yeah, I'll send you on that one. Peace and love, Earth. Bless up.